What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Patrick. It is a beautiful Monday morning. I got my nice salted caramel oat milk cold brew. Feeling cracked out, feeling good. Gonna be a weird week, though. Didn't dawn on me until today that we don't have Yankee baseball the next 4 days. And after the loss yesterday on Sunday, I was like, oh, I could use a break. I'm gonna be kind of bored tonight. But the All-Star game and the home run derby is a derby today, right?
Derby's tonight. Yeah, if you're
Tonight.
watching this, day comes out Monday. The home run derby's tonight. The All-Star game's tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know you're not a huge fan of it. All of it. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But I
How are
love the
you?
what?
I want to make sure I said how are you because I told you how I
Oh,
was.
I'm good. I can't complain. There's a lot for us to talk about Yankee wise though. And I think we might debate about a couple things. So I'm excited for it.
Okay.
Before we get into anything though, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, FOCO, FOCO. Use code Yankees Avenue at checkout, save 15% off your order. But let's jump right into things. Topic number one, Dan. The Yankees, for the first time, I think ever, fired wait, no, that's wrong.
In the Brian Cashman era. First time in the
In the
Brian
Brian
Cashman
Cashman
era.
era,
Yep.
they fired a coach midseason, which is absolutely insane, I guess. Some would say. Some are calling it the biggest move of all time. But yeah, Dillon Lawson is no longer the Yankees hitting coach. Apparently, they're going to be replacing him from outside the organization. I know a lot of people kind of have mixed feelings about this. I'll give my take on it real quick first. In 2021, everyone was like, bro, Marcus Tim's is the reason the Yankees offense sucks, yada, yada, yada. And I was one of them as well. And then once you kind of like move past that and realize the Yankees offensive philosophy didn't really change when Tim's left, it kind of like makes me feel indifferent to this move, right? Because sure, it's more of a message being sent where it's like, oh, like the Yankees are finally making a midseason change that's desperately needed. And hopefully whoever they bring in can improve the offense somewhat. But I think people are maybe looking at this a little bit too strongly and think like firing Dillon Lawson is going to do a lot more than it's actually going to, right? I think his replacement means a lot more than just getting rid of him because I'm going to be honest, I don't think the Yankees offensive struggles this year are simply because of Dillon Lawson, bro.
Right. No, I think you make a lot of good points, and I don't even disagree necessarily. Why to me it is a big deal is for the first time in a while, like you said, Cashman finally fired a coach midseason. To me, that does show a sense of urgency. Now, we can get in the conversation of what this could lead to. Are we going to see a sense of urgency with Boone down the line? I read an article from The Athletic that really surprised me. They said Boone's on the hot seat, which I don't necessarily agree with, but what I appreciate now is the vibes because after a loss like yesterday, I put out a thread and I was saying, I don't care what it is, whether it's a minor league call up, a minor trade acquisition, or you let somebody go, you have to make some sort of a change to show this is not okay. And to me, that's what this move does. Is the new hitting coach going to come in and fix all the Yankees offensive problems? No, probably not. And the main issue with that is probably because they're all veterans. I mean, what are you really going to be able to tell Giancarlo Stanton? What are you going to be able to tell Anthony Rizzo? And those are the two to me that you have to fix because Josh Donaldson, we've talked about it a lot. He'll be gone soon. I think he's long gone. DJ LeMahieu, I love the guy. I'm starting to just assume maybe he really is washed. You can't go into the playoffs with him as your starting third baseman. The two guys you have to fix, and this instantly becomes the responsibility of the new hitting coach, Stanton and Rizzo, whatever you can do, get them right. Stanton has looked a little bit better over the last week or so. I think he has like a mid 900s OPS over his last 7 games. But yeah, we know how bad the offense has been. The approach has just been absolutely terrible. I mean, some of the quotes Lawson has put out certainly didn't help. I mean, remember a couple of months ago with Volpe, oh, he's hitting 200, but it's a professional 200. And what was his motto? It worked to his credit. His motto, hit strikes hard, was always his thing, which I did like, so I don't want to be fraudulent. That worked a lot with the minor league system. Before being hired as the Yankees official hitting coach, he was their minor league hitting coordinator. And to be fair, he set them up nice. Like they're on a path now to where the organizational philosophy of hitting has worked out in the minor leagues, not so much the major leagues. They were like 5th in OPS on the season. I think it was a no-brainer. Is it going to change the season? No, but it finally shows a sense of urgency. And to me, that's enough to where I was able to, my day was salvaged yesterday after that loss because of this news. It was a breath of fresh air for me. I understand what you're saying. It's not going to necessarily flip the offense right over, but it shows, dude, like if you guys don't get your shit together, things are going to happen. What did we hear Hal Steimer say about a month ago? They miss the playoffs or something happens that doesn't happen with this team in the playoffs. Steimer's going to start asking some hard questions, and I think that could end up coming down to Boone, but it'll be after the season.
I think it's the opposite though, right? Like I look at the move of firing Lawson and kind of using that as a scapegoat of all the Yankees offensive troubles. And I think that that's a problem that we've seen in this organization for quite a few years now, where rather than like you're seeing multiple people take accountability for faults with the Yankees, it feels like one person is kind of blamed and then pushed to the side and nothing ever gets fixed, right? So, like I said, same thing happened with Marcus Timms. He was the guy, bro. Like everyone was like, fire Timms, fire Timms, fire Timms. They fire Timms, nothing changes. And then I think it was after 2021, everyone was like, fire Boone, fire Boone, whatever. And then they basically fired every single person around Boone. They're like, yo, Phil Nevin was the problem, actually. And then it just seems like there always looks to be a piece in the offense, whether it's Gary Sanchez, Josh Donaldson, Aaron Hicks, Joey Gallo. Everyone's like, yo, this person's the problem. Get them out of the lineup. Like everything's going to be fine. So I feel like we're looking at the firing of Dillon Lawson, and it feels like another scapegoat where it's like Brian Cashman's not taking accountability for constructing a very poor lineup that doesn't have very much diversity, or it just everyone's kind of like a copy and paste of each other and they can't hit. You don't look at Aaron Boone, who I'm gonna be honest, I don't think is the best manager, but you fire everybody around him and you just don't look at the roster construction and just the leadership of this team. You kind of blame these small pieces. Then in the grand scheme of things, I don't think really do much. So while it is cool and it is like refreshing by any means, I don't think that this is like substantial to the point where like I'm excited that Dillon Lawson is out as hitting coach. You know, would have been like I think honestly, if you wanted to send a message, I think DFAing Donaldson would have been more of a thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, bro. I just firing a hitting coach does nothing for me.
So yeah, in a way I understand the scapegoat, but in this specific situation, I don't actually agree because in past years, at least with Marcus Timms, or whether it go back to Kevin Long, or we had somebody else, forget who it was. But our offense, technically speaking, regular season wise, was towards the top of the league. And then things don't go well in the playoffs, you bounce them. And that, to me, yeah, sure, kind of a scapegoat. But stats are the stats. I mean, the Yankees offense has been so brutally bad this year that, we talk all the time about being complacent and being okay with mediocrity. If they were to keep him around with how bad the offense has been, that to me would have been a bigger issue.
But is that his fault that the
not
offense
necessarily.
is so bad? Like we came into the season knowing this wasn't a good lineup.
Right, but when you have how bad the offense is, and that you can't deny, but also like the little things. I mentioned the quotes, but also with Volpe, I mean, the fact that the Yankees hitting coach didn't think to look back on old video when Volpe was hitting well and apply that to him in the big leagues now, it dumbfounds me. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it's a bad look.
With that said, though, this means absolutely nothing if the Yankees don't have a good trade deadline and improve other areas of the team, which we'll talk about a certain player in a moment. But this isn't saving this season. I don't want to put that across there, but I think it's a step towards potentially two things. I mean, a step towards the Yankees finally showing some urgency now and righting the ship, or this could just be the start of something big. This could be the first of many moves that ultimately concludes with, if the Yankees don't make the playoffs, that is, which I've been saying all along, if the Yankees don't make the playoffs, I think Boone does go. And that would be a total clean house. Then you get rid of everybody. But for right now, my optimistic lens, the way I see it through, you get rid of Lawson, you have a good trade deadline, and figure your shit out. Yankees are 49-42. They're a game out of a playoff spot. Is it ideal? No. But if you want to save your season, you technically still have the time to do so. And I appreciate the sense of urgency.
Sure. I don't know. I can't really get too excited about it. But when you say if the Yankees miss the playoffs this year, Boone's gone, I'd like to think so. But I don't think so. Like I want to believe that if the Yankees miss the playoffs, Boone's gone. But I don't. I think that they'll come up with like some sort of, our best player was out for the whole season. We dealt with a lot of injuries. They'll probably fire like Matt Blake just for the hell of it. Like, I think that they'll do everything in their power to not fire Aaron Boone and make it a point that the failure of this season would not be his fault.
Well, I don't even think it necessarily is his fault, but it also goes back to everything I'm saying with, right. And that's my point kind of with Dillon Lawson, even outside of the fact that the hitting is terrible. You got to, like, sometimes somebody just has to take one for the team. And in essence, that's what Dillon Lawson did here in part. And also that would be what it is for Boone. You guys know I don't hate Boone all that much, although I want to speak on this. His quote yesterday about Domingo Germán, I don't pile on Boone at all. Like, I'm borderline defender of Boone. But he goes, he takes Boone out, or Germán out, 74 pitches, having allowed just one hit in the seventh. To me, I didn't actually hate that. You trust your bullpen, and hey, if Gleyber Torres makes that play, it works to a charm. However, what Boone said after the game,
which we'll talk about.
Yes. But Boone said after the game why he took Domingo out. He's like, instead of, oh, I trust my bullpen, it was, I wanted to get him out on a high note to conclude the first half. I mean, that is ridiculous. Once again, if you just trust your bullpen and and that makes sense. That would have made sense. You have the best bullpen in baseball outside the last 2 or 3 days. That makes sense. But not to have him feeling a good morale boost to finish a game, a first half in a game that you had to win. That was bad on Boone. But bottom line also, too, is I don't think it's his fault. But if you were to miss the playoffs, or even not just miss the playoffs, get in the playoffs, get bounced the first round, whatever it may be, you got to show that's not okay. And Boone's been around for 5 years. The way to do that is by firing your manager. I'm sorry.
Are you surprised, though? Like, are you surprised by that quote from Boone? Like, that's not something that's extremely new where it's like, oh, like morale and I want my guys to feel good.
Not so much like the quote in its sense, but more so like the quote is about why he made the move. And a lot of times I agree with Boone's moves. Him explaining that move makes me not agree with it. Whereas at the time when it happened, I was like, okay, you have a good bullpen. I guess I understand. And the guy coming up just homered off of him too. I don't know.
Whatever, dude.
I don't know, dude.
I'm over it. I'm tired of these.
I'm not.
We should just cancel this show.
Yeah, okay. That's what we'll do. We lose 2 out of 3 to the Cubs. We got to cancel the show now. That's great. That's great.
Topic number 2. Let's talk about Gleyber Torres. Because I would say that he's the reason why the Yankees lost that last game of the series. I know some people are going to be like, oh, you can blame Gleyber or whatever. I'm blaming Gleyber. Just because, bro, we talk about Gleyber Torres so much on the show, and I think just because he's such a polarizing figure in Yankee land right now. I mean, it feels like half of the fan base is like, yo, Gleyber Torres is the worst Yankee of all time. And you got half of the fan base being like, Gleyber Torres is a great Yankee, leave him alone. And I feel like both of us maybe stand in the middle. I think maybe I lean a little bit more towards hating Gleyber, but I think it just goes to show like that error on Sunday that ended up basically costing the Yankees the game there. It's just things like that we talk about so often with Gleyber Torres, where he makes these mental miscues. And bro, we were talking about it with the base running, right? And I said like these mental miscues, whether or not like they're on the base pass, whether or not he's thinking of it in advance, but defensively, when he has these mental lapses, it has the ability to cost the Yankees games, especially, bro. Imagine this was like a playoff scenario. Imagine the Yankees were like 1 game out of a wild card spot yesterday, and you have your season being ended because Gleyber Torres can't feel the ground ball. And the problem with me when it comes to Gleyber is, bro, if he just sucked defensively, I'd have no problem with it, right? But I don't think it's a skill issue. Gleyber Torres has the talent. He has the skills in order to be a great defensive second baseman. We've seen it in the past. In order to be a great hitter, in order to be a great base runner, he has the skills necessary. I just think mentally, he's just not there all the time. And that's what bothers me, right? Like, booting a double play ball, that's not because like you're not good. That's because he has his mind on like flipping a double play rather than just getting the outs. You know what I mean? So just when I look at Gleyber Torres, I can't ask for him to be off the Yankees fast enough. I know you look at the numbers, he's been probably like our second best hitter this season, not really saying much, but I want him so far off this team, it's not even funny.
Yo, real quick, just on the offense, because now we're at a point where, yeah, Gleyber's been the Yankees' second best player for the most part offensively, but his numbers have fallen off to the point where it's not even that great. I mean, 251 average, OBP's down to 325. He's slugging barely over 400. He has a 107 OPS plus, so kind of just barely above league average. As for the defense, as for that play, that was brutal. That was terrible. Now, I will also say the other person that faults here, along with Gleyber Torres, Ron Marnacchio walking the base, or a single and then 2 walks, bases loaded. That is unacceptable. Just because Gleyber Torres boots an error leads to a game being tied. Once it's 4-4, that's still a game you should win. You're better than the Chicago Cubs. I don't care how bad this and disappointing this season has been. That was horrible, Pat. It was horrible. Now, I actually don't attribute yesterday's blunder from Gleyber to like the normal mental error, mental lapse that we normally see from him. That was just like a straight up, he booted that ball, because one thing I do agree with Boone on is he that ball he usually would make a play on. I think it's more so the issue of whether it's, if you want to say like the lackadaisical play on a ball up the middle, he does a Cano throw from the side, and then maybe sometimes that'll be an errant throw, or just that wasn't like a normal Gleyber blunder to me. That was just a straight up error. Now, I do want to point out that, you know, because people were bringing up Gleyber Torres' errors. He has 10 on the season, which, yeah, sure isn't good. I don't look at errors. If you go to his second base metrics, he is positive in defensive runs saved at 1. And for outs above average, he's at 0, which means he's been right around league average. So overall, defensively, Gleyber Torres has been fine. However, with that said, and the offensive numbers, what's so funny, Pat? Let me finish my point. With the offensive numbers not being anything to save himself from those mental errors and what we saw yesterday, he's got this year, he's got next year. I think I'm headed towards a total 180, Pat. For those who remember, I suggested bringing up giving Gleyber Torres an extension in
8 years,
spring training.
Right?
Well, 6 years after he's got control. Leave me alone. Let me finish my point. I think because of the fact that there is just nothing in the trade market and he's not going anywhere as an Oswald Peraza, I think we're almost certainly now headed for a Volpe and Peraza middle infield. Gleyber Torres might be gone by the start of next year. I think he's here the rest of this season. I think he's going to be our starting second baseman going into the playoffs, which is not the worst in the world. I don't want to take this as you guys to take this as I'm trashing Gleyber. I'm hopping off the Gleyber bandwagon, but there's issues here. We've seen enough of it this season. And now over the majority of his Yankee career, because what were the good moments? You had 18, you had 19, and then pretty much the first half of 2022. And that's why, entering this year, it was a little bit easier for me to be supportive of Gleyber because you had that year, the first half of last year, and then you had the trade rumors. You figure that got in his head. I think the true Gleyber Torres is the 4 out of the 6 months we saw last year, not those shitty 2 months. However, the inconsistency is certainly there this year. And I assume the Yankees front office is pretty damn frustrated with it. And I think they probably look at him like this is not the player that we thought you would pan out to be. You're not bad. You're not horrible. You're a nice player. But maybe even that's a little too complimentary. I think that's what I said of him last week. Was it Gleyber we were talking about where he's a nice player?
Yeah.
He's okay. He can be really good. But moments like last night, or yesterday, and just the fact that his season really isn't all that good to salvage those bad mistakes. Yeah, man. I think I just broke my pin. I think
okay.
I think we're witnessing the beginning of the end, Pat.
Yeah, and when you say that a trade for Gleyber feels like imminent going into next season, I saw someone on Twitter actually post this. Is everything okay down there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Continue.
Were you doing that on purpose?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was just like, dude, large coffee on a Monday morning, Pat. Please continue. That sounds like a great point you're making.
No, yeah, it was a great point. Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter mention trade Gleyber at the deadline for whatever you could get for him. And are you putting your Gleyber pin on right now?
Yeah, I am, dude. Because I don't want to like beat a man while he's down. I want to show a little bit of support. All right. I'm okay. You can't blame me for interrupting your point that time. I didn't say a word.
Okay, no, fine. Okay, fine. All I'm saying is that pin is going to be on clearance in about 2 months. But but well, that's my point. I think that you should definitely try to trade Gleyber at this deadline, see whatever value you could get for him, and then call up Peraza. Bro, the spark that you would have with your middle infield being Volpe at short and Peraza at second, I would love every single second of that just because Peraza is going to come up and hopefully play like an absolute dog because this is what he's been waiting for, right? I think, obviously, I don't know what's going on in Gleyber's head, but I think at some point, maybe he's just taking this opportunity for granted. Maybe he just doesn't want to be in New York anymore. Maybe he's just mentally checked out. Okay, shaking your head. We don't know what's going on.
That's
making
where
assumptions
I disagree.
Here.
See, that's the thing.
Wait, can I say one more thing? Can I say one more thing about Gleyber,
course.
please?
Yes.
You might disagree, but I think that he has become... Actually, no, you can't disagree. This is my opinion. He's become my least favorite Yankee.
Honestly, I can disagree. The way it works is that I say what my opinion is.
Exactly. No, you can't disagree.
We're Donaldson.
Yeah, no, I like... Just because I know Donaldson is like... I have no expectations. You know what I mean? Like, Donaldson is already just trash. Gleyber Torres, he's my least favorite Yankee.
Okay.
Just because, like, Donaldson, I don't even count. You know what I mean?
No, I understand your logic there. Yeah, sure. But as for... Like, I think, and this is where I apply discipline in my baseball talking life. Just because I'm mad at Gleyber and just because I see something like that yesterday, doesn't mean he doesn't care. I mean, he looked distraught as hell after that error, rightfully so, as he should. And I wish more Yankees would show kind of what we saw from Carlos Rodon, who I guess we're not going to talk about it much. He was fucking great on Friday. I thought he looked phenomenal. I love his attitude, everything about it. But regardless, Gleyber cares. He wants to do well. He loves New York. He does. He wants to be here. And that's kind of makes it a little bit more sad. I mean, I don't want to exactly call it like a fall from grace. Once again, he's not it's sad to me, dude. I care about these players. Like, I like Gleyber Torres. I do. When he's doing well, he's the most lovable, borderline the most lovable player on the team. But now we're not seeing that as much. He is, dude. I mean, remember even the first couple of weeks of the season, how great he was. When Gleyber's good, he's so easy to root for. And he's a good player when it happens. It's just we're seeing that so few and far between these days. It seems like pretty much just as much as he's been good this year, he's been bad. And the bad, as we mentioned last week, stands out a little bit more.
But it's every year.
He does care. I know. Hey, did I not just say he's going to be traded by next fucking opening day? You're always trying to get me to be mean, dude. I'm not going to be mean. I'm going to criticize while also being fair and acknowledging that I like these players. I root for them to do well. Like, it's not one of these things where, oh, Gleyber Torres makes an error and I want him, like, shot out to the sun, killed. Like, nah, like, you kind of do want that.
Am I saying that?
Yeah, you want him to fucking incinerate, bro. Yes, you just said that. You said
no,
1,000 degrees, light him on fire, get the hell out of New York.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yes, it is.
That's just not true. I like Gleyber Torres as a human being. I just don't want him anywhere near second base for the New York Yankees. It's simple as that. And if you're looking at it as like, yo, he's definitely being traded by next season, trade him now. What's the point in like sitting with dead weight who you don't want on your team and doesn't want to be on your team? Oh, Gleyber loves New York. He changed his walk-up song to City of Gods. Don't care. He's going to have to change it soon when he's playing second base for the San Diego Padres.
I didn't know anything about the City of Gods walk-up song. I'm not familiar with that music. I'm sorry. But I'll say this. You mentioned Oswald Peraza. I don't think Peraza is the clear answer at second base this year. I think he's probably at second base. I think he's a clear answer at third base, most likely. Because going back to what I said before, Donaldson, I think he's gone. DJ, I'm starting to believe, may truly just be washed, which is very unfortunate. You may have to call up Peraza to play third. And then, of course, Gleyber's still your second baseman in that case. Because, once again, it's not – the Yankees can still get a lot out of Gleyber. It's not like from this point forward, he's just going to be a bag of dead weight. No, I mean, we saw it last week against Baltimore, that 2-run shot. We've seen many moments with Gleyber where he can be good. And we just probably going to ride with him the rest of this year. What are you looking at, dude? Gleyber's not a bad player all of a sudden. He's just not as good as we would hope he would be.
Okay. Last week, we said he was nice. We agreed that he was a nice player.
Oh, we're trending down. No, we're
agreeing that he's an okay player. Bro, next week, we can be going for him to be DFA'd completely.
It's been a gradual decline from, remember the first week? How like we were typing up like, hey, maybe this is the player Gleyber is, dude. Like, he's feeling good. It has been kind of a steady trajectory down.
No, I know. And that's why I'm saying, like, I think in all seriousness, like looking at Sunday from Gleyber Torres and how that was one of his biggest blunders of the year, I do think the All-Star break is the best possible thing for him because as we've kind of seen, he's the type of guy where mistakes like that happen and then he kind of just like lets it affect his performance. So I think having this week off might be the best thing for him. Bro, if he comes back after the All-Star break and starts absolutely dogging it with his bat and defensively he looks fine, I might turn a complete 180. I'm like, yo, I was wrong about Gleyber Torres. But as of right now, bye.
Yeah, I mean, the whole team could use a reset, which is nice. And then we go to Colorado, which maybe that kind of concerns me a little bit. A weekend set in Colorado. We might tear the cover off the ball, bro. We get tricked into thinking we don't need anything to deadline. I can already see it already. But, yo, also let me just say one last thing on Gleyber. The main issue here is now, to me, the fact that he's just not doing good offensively. OPS at like 720, whatever I said before. If he were to have an 800 OPS or a high 700 OPS, I don't even know if it's worth having this conversation to me because then it's worth all the troubles, or at least for the most part. But he's not providing really much value at all.
Exactly.
It just is relative to the rest of the Yankee lineup.
Well, I think it's like that Gary Sanchez thing, right? Where Gary was so bad defensively, but he kind of made up for it because he was so good with the bat, so no one really cared. But then once Gary's bat fell off the face of the earth, and then he wasn't really providing much value offensively or defensively, that's when people are like, yo, like there's an issue here. And I think that's maybe what we're looking at with Gleyber, where it felt like, sure, he's always had like defensive miscues, and whether you want to blame that on shortstop or whatever, but his bat usually made up for it. Now that we're not really seeing the offensive production and the defensive production is going down along with the base running miscues, then you have like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. I just also want to say Gleyber Torres, again, has technically been a league average second baseman defensively this year.
He's been an okay player.
Just being fair. He's been an okay player. Yes. I think that's where we're at now. See where we're at next week, folks. See you Friday.
Before we get in topic number 3, Dan, it's All-Star Week. Let's give a huge shout out to our sponsor, FOCO. We got these all-star bobbleheads. Look, it's the
look at you took it out of the box.
The Seattle, what's that? Space Needle? Or is that the Toronto one?
Are they space things? Seattle, is that what their like thing is? Like
Yeah.
how we're the
No,
Gardens.
no,
Oh, I shouldn't say we. You don't live in New Jersey, but is that their thing? Is it like Space State?
no,
Go
I
to
don't think so.
Seattle. No, screw
But
Seattle.
yeah,
You don't need to go to Seattle. You can get yourself one of these to celebrate.
get one of them. Use code Yankees Avenue at checkout. Save 15% off. There's only 144 available. I don't know how much there are left, but probably not a lot.
Probably less than
Yeah,
half that, I would assume. So, guys, go get yourself one. They got a bunch of other stuff as well. You know, the dope wall art, which I'm pumped to be back in front of, by the way. I haven't been back in Hoboken in a couple weeks. You got the robes, you got the shorts. What I always say, anything with the Yankee logo on it, they probably have it. Does it speak to you or something? What do you,
what?
does it speak?
No, it's just telling me like topic 3 we have to get into soon.
Oh, okay. My bad. Well, with that said, Cody Yankees Avenue, 15% off. Go get yourself ready for the All-Star game. Are you gonna watch? Oh, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But go buy one. Yankees Avenue,
Give it a
15% off.
smooch,
Do
Pat.
it.
You won't. Give it a nice smooch, a nice wet kiss. Mwah.
Did you hear it? Like ASMR.
I didn't actually hear it. That's why I had to do one myself. So the
We
audience,
should
at
do
least
an
listening on
ASMR
podcast.
episode.
No, I hate that crap, dude. Every time I'm scrolling through TikTok, you know they throw the random lives at you every like 20 scrolls.
Yes.
I'll just have a random girl being like,
I usually get like people like smothering themselves in like honey in like a bathtub in like the middle of Oklahoma.
we're not going to talk about it. This is totally random, but do you see all this shit going on with? Oh no, we can't talk about it.
What?
Just somebody on the internet who gets their wife plowed by another man, but I don't know if we should talk about that.
Okay. Let's get into topic number 3. Dan, Cody Bellinger, we just wrapped up this series with the Cubs, and Cody Bellinger went yard. He had a pretty good series. I think he's now batting over 300 on the season. His OPS is in the high 800s, if I'm not mistaken. And playing a great center field. I think this series was a great tryout for Cody Bellinger in case the Yankees were interested. And I'm going to be honest, at this point, I would be shocked if the Yankees weren't interested in doing their due diligence in researching Cody Bellinger and seeing if he's even going to be available at the deadline, because I think he would be the perfect fit for the Yankees. And in an outfield market right now that isn't that deep, he might be the shining star. And I know, like, if you go to his baseball savant page, like the percentiles aren't that great, whatever. I don't care because it's not fitting my narrative here,
Right.
right?
Exactly,
If
Pat.
his if his percentiles were like 95% everything, cool, then I'd follow it. But we're just gonna ignore it here, just because, bro. I'm looking at plus 300 average, plus 850 OPS. Cody Bellinger is my guy at the deadline, but I do not know what it would take to get him, and I also do not know if the Cubs will even be selling.
Yeah, well, for the record, it's actually a 298 average and an
Oh.
OPS at 846. So both the things you just said were wrong. However, with that said, no, you're absolutely 1,000% right, Pat. I think there's one good thing that came out of this weekend is that we've now finally have an established clear trade candidate for the Yankees, which we really didn't have this entire season. I mean, what have we been like talking about when referencing the trade deadline since the beginning of this year? There's really nobody who the Yankees should go clear cut, go after. Bellinger, I mean, kind of is that guy now, especially like you said, the market really isn't that deep outside of Belly. I mean, who's the other outfielder you might be able to get? Juan Soto. I still don't believe that's happening. He's a center fielder, good defense, would play left, of course, because we have Bader. But yeah, dude, I mean, that left-handed swing in Yankee Stadium, not that he needed the short porch whatsoever on that homer, but boy, seeing that, the deep, when he went deep off Rodon, salivated, Pat. And it actually was probably one of the few times, probably the only time this season, unless did Gary go deep? No, he didn't. Only time this season I wasn't like pissed at a home run. One, because Rodon was looking so good. Once again, shout out to him. But all I could see is Cody Bellinger wearing pinstripes by the end of the month. And I think it has to happen. He's a 1-year rental. You'd have him the rest of this year. You wouldn't have to give up anything crazy. You just got to really hope that the Cubs, and this is another big issue of losing that series. You need the Cubs to lose. We do not want them to be in the National League Central, which is such a shitty division that even though they're 5 games under, they're technically in. We need them to sell because if not, there's really no other route to go that is a significant upgrade. Bellinger, if you put him in left field and then maybe go get yourself a third baseman, like we're in a much, much better spot. And I like his vibe a lot, Pat. A lot. I could see myself chilling with him.
Okay.
You know, you couldn't.
I wonder
Cody
why.
Bellinger, you know?
But what I'm saying is, I think I'm looking at Cody Bellinger, and I think he's also a perfect fit for the Yankees because even on the negative side of things, we've seen Cody Bellinger have significant struggles in the past, and he just seems like that really like super hot or super cold guy that I think would be the perfect representation of the players that the Yankees acquire. Like, I hate to say this, but I do get a little bit of Joey Gallo vibes from Cody Bellinger, no?
It concerns me, but I also feel we don't have a choice but to find out. Because if not, who are we getting?
No, I know. But I think that's a problem, right? Because it's the same thing where I think Cody Bellinger comes and let's say because we've seen Bellinger like struggle so bad to the point where he's like batting 100 through like a 30 game
He was
span.
essentially what
And if
Gallo was last year with us for a couple
exactly. That's what
seasons.
I'm
Yeah.
saying. And as good as Cody Bellinger can be, like we also know like with his swing and how advanced it is, like one little thing can go wrong and he could be the worst hitter in baseball. So I think it's a very risky thing, especially the fact that the Yankees don't even have a hitting coach right now. But if they do pull the trigger on him, he has the potential to either be the most loved Yankee in the second half of the season or right up there with Josh Donaldson as one of the most hated going in the second half as well. Because
Yeah, I mean,
also,
I'd like
don't
to think it.
forget, I just also one last thing about Bellinger. I think that a lot of fans will go into the trade, a possible trade, not even with an open mind, right? Like, you know how when we acquired Gallo, like people hated him from the start? I think a lot of people would feel the same way about Bellinger as well, just because like the high strikeouts, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, well, what is he? Let me just go check out his thing. I mean, no, the thing is with Bellinger is his career. I mean, outside of 21 to 22, which let's not even talk about that because kind of like historically bad, especially in 21. But anyways, the K rate, he was usually right around like in the mid 20s. I mean, for his career, 22.7%. It's down to 17.6%, which actually leans a little more towards like what DJ LeMahieu was prior to this season. He's really not striking out all that much this year. We'd have to see what happens when he gets to New York. But also just the fact that he is just signed through this year, it's not like with Gallo, how bad he was didn't matter because you're going to have him for that next season. You had him in
Yeah.
21, he was bad, but he was your left fielder going into 2022. With Bellinger, it's, dude, give us what you got for 3 months, and no matter what, it's going to be an upgrade. I mean, at least offensively, too. It'd be nice to be able to have somebody that catches the ball in left field and then maybe hits like a little bit above league average, possibly better. Also, the peak of Bellinger, granted, it's quite some time ago, way higher than Joey Gallo's ever was. So it's enough, all that combined to, it's a no-brainer for me. Go get Cody Bellinger. By the end of the
I
month, he
agree.
has to be a Yankee. End of story.
Who would you like? What would be your max that you would give up for Bellinger? Like, give me like the top prospect that you would go. Because don't
Well,
forget, like we said, he's a rental, so the
right.
asking price can't be that high.
Yeah, and that also goes into it, the fact that it wouldn't cost all that much. I mean, without question, there's no Jason Dominguez. You're not giving up Oswald Peraza. Austin Wells, no. Spencer Jones, hell no. Everson Pereira, which some have suggested calling him up. He's only played a couple games in AAA, but in AA, he's been real good. He has like a mid 850s OPS. He's been solid. But anyways, you don't got to give up him. I wouldn't give up Trey Sweeney. I probably would actually, but I don't think you have to. I think you're looking like a prospect towards the bottom of their top 10 list, like some guy in like the 6 through 10 range maybe, and totally fine by me. Totally fine by me. Like as long as it's not one of the main guys, which it of course won't be. That's why this deal makes so much sense. There's nothing to give up that you're going to lose sleep over. And the Yankees, contrary to popular belief, have a pretty budding farm system right now. Not necessarily like in terms of having a big list entering this year, but a lot of guys are performing outside of Jason Dominguez. But
Let me ask you a question. This
please,
kind of relates back to topic number 2. But let's say offer was on the table, Gleyber for Bellinger, straight up.
I mean, just for the sake of argument, I mean,
Because let's just be
no,
honest,
but that
like
would never
I'm
happen.
looking
The
at,
Cubs wouldn't want that. If you're
but
just
that,
saying for the sake of bullshit.
no, but I'm looking at it and like the Yankees 6 through 10 prospects, like none of them are really like stellar to the point where like the Cubs are going to be like, oh yeah, I don't know what goes on in their scouting department, but I don't think that any of them are like super attractive. So the Cubs might look at a guy like Glaber, be like, oh, Glaber has what, one year of control left after the season, bro.
Yeah,
They could take Gleyber Torres, maybe he puts up an insane second half and flip him. Who knows? And get something better than what they would get for Bellinger.
I
Just
don't
a
think
thought, but
so.
would you
No,
do it?
uh yeah, I guess I would do it. The thing is, they have so many infielders, and also I don't know if Glaber's peak in terms of what you could get back would ever be higher than Bellinger's this summer. Not that his is crazy high either. But if you're flipping Gleyber next, nah, I would do it. I just don't think it would happen. I think it's just gonna be some winky dink slap dick prospect, not a slap dick, but like a nice return for the Cubs. One that I don't give a crap about though. Go get Cody Bellinger. I'm very happy about this now, Pat, because it was kind
Yeah,
of
so am I.
bothering me that like I knew the Yankees needed something. And at least for it being the number one clear target, I didn't know who that was. Now I know. It's Cody Bellinger.
Can we agree that like now after seeing Bellinger and being so like infatuated with Cody Bellinger, if they went out and acquired like Lane Thomas, we'd be disappointed, no?
Yeah. I mean, I think what you have to do also is it doesn't just stop at Bellinger. Like you got to go out and get Candelario as well. I want to check in on Thomas's stats.
I need
Real
a
quick.
2021 type trade deadline. Like, bro, don't just go
Yes,
out and get Joey Gallo. Go get Anthony Rizzo too. Like, no one was expecting Anthony
that was a
Rizzo.
fire deadline.
Exactly. 20 and we saw what it did for that team in the second half of that season, right?
Mhm.
Like what did they win? Like 10 straight games or something? Like the Yankees went on a little bit of a tear, and that's exactly why they even made the wild card game. They didn't go far, but regardless, they still made the postseason.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
something I also will say. No matter if it's a good one or not, I'll tell you this right now: the Yankees will have an active trade deadline of some sort. It's just a matter. I mean, even last year's trade deadline worked out horrible, but they did make like a shit ton of moves. They did. It's
yeah,
just a
no,
matter
it
of if
was
they work out or not. The Yankees are
it
going to
worked
do
out
some
very poorly.
stuff this year. It's just you hope. And this is where I can get optimistic with things. You know how bad the first half went and everything that went shitty compared to last year. Maybe it's the flip of that. You know, we got off so hot, things were going well. We have a big trade deadline that doesn't work out, and then injuries, all this and that. We were shit. Second half, playoffs, knocked out. Maybe this year things turn around in the second half. Trade deadline does work out. Guys actually are able to stay healthy. You get Judge back, which, by the way, Judge is coming back. Like a lot of people are trying to bait off the notion that he's not. He's coming back. Like I understand it's a cool story for clicks, and it's like, what is it, fear mongering, all this crap. No, he's coming back. We don't know if he's going to come back at 100% or not, but Judge will be back. I think we got to stop like throwing it out there like, oh, we don't even know if Judge is coming back. Like, shut the fuck up. Yes, he is coming back.
I'm happy he's not going to the All-Star game.
Yeah, me too. I like his quote.
Yeah. Yo, before we get into topic number 4, can we just talk about Carlos Rodon really quick because we're
Yes,
kind of on the Cubs
please.
series. His debut, his first start as a Yankee, numbers wise, it wasn't fantastic, right? What was it like? 5 innings, 2 earned runs or
It was
something, three
good. Yeah,
strikeouts.
like five plus 2 earned.
It was okay.
Only
Like
two
Gleyber Torres, I guess.
strikeouts, but he
Yeah.
looked phenomenal. Did you watch?
No, I did watch. And one thing I will say, bro, I loved the chest hair popping out of his jersey. It was like Luke Voigt, but as a pitcher.
I
And
normally would hate that shit. I loved it.
okay, cool. I'm looking at you right now, and if you could grow chest hair, it would. Yeah, no, you have like a baby smooth. No, that's actually.
Yeah, I
Do you
know. I
shave your
can't grow
chest?
hair. No, I don't shave my
Oh,
chest, Pat. Trust
okay.
me, I'm
Well,
quite aware.
what I'm saying is, I'm very happy with what we saw from Carlos Rodon, and as he builds himself up and going into the second half of the season, I'm very, very excited to hopefully see him stay healthy and see the energy and just presence that he brings to the mound for the Yankees.
I couldn't agree more, Pat. And I want to show a video on here. This is the Jank Wave rolling some B-roll. I absolutely love Rodon in his debut, but just from especially the fire that he has, dude. I wish more Yankees would do this. And I understand that while just because not everybody acts this way doesn't mean they don't care. But boy, does it look good. I mean, just listen to the goddamn when he brings up a sorry, Christina, when he lets up a single. Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
He's
that
screaming.
didn't
He looks
come through.
badass. Oh, it didn't come through. Well, it'll come
No,
through in
it's
the
fine.
post-production version. You know what I'm talking about, though. I like that. I wish more players would show that.
I agree.
Got overdone.
I agree.
I'm pumped. And also, I love him and Cole pitching back to back. I love that. I know the Yankees are throwing out Cole, Rodon, and Schmidt in Colorado. I don't know the exact order. They have to keep Cole and Rodon back to back. It just fucking works.
It does.
For obvious
No,
reasons.
it's very attractive. And going into a postseason series, bro, like let's say we're going into a wild card series, which we most likely will. Having Cole Rodon being those game 1 and 2 starters, like that's very, very scary for the opposing team. I will say. 2 absolute dogs. So just saying. What are you doing?
Just sending some work text, dude. It's a Monday. Some of us have jobs.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Pat has multiple jobs. We know.
Okay. Topic number 4, Dan. Let's talk about one player we're happy with. And I guess we could say one player we're frustrated with for the first half of the season for the Yankees.
Okay. So I will go first with I kind of have 2 that I want to compliment, but just in case.
No Gleyber Torres. I'm done talking about Gleyber Torres, by the way.
Right. Yes. I wasn't going to go there anyways. Okay. So for the positive, first I'll shout out Harrison Bader. Now, before when we were saying, oh, Gleyber Torres has probably been like the second best offensive player, it really has just been Harrison Bader. You have Judge, then you have Bader, then maybe you have Gleyber Torres. I want to shout out Jimmy and Jay because they talk about this a lot, but it really is true. Harrison Bader is the Yankees' best player behind Aaron Judge. He is. He's the most game-changing, the most impacting. He's one of the few Yankees this year to where I'm proud to see him wear the pinstripes. He wears them well, and he also too will show a little bit of that Rodon fire. I mean, this is all stuff that we know, but anyways. 7 homers, 30 RBIs, 461 slugging. Defense has been really good. Harrison Bader has been awesome this year so far. Of course, has had some injuries, but overall, he's a Yankee I'm least disappointed with and one I'd want back in 2024, which is you can't say about many. So shout out Harrison Bader.
Sure. What about one player you're not happy with?
Can you give your good player first? Because I'm torn.
Okay. My good player, I mean, it's kind of so easy, but Garrett Cole. Like I can't look at the New York Yankees this season and not give Garrett Cole like the fair share credit for keeping this team afloat. I think without Garrett Cole, the Yankees would probably be like below the Red Sox, which I think are only a game behind us right now,
Yeah,
which is kind of weird.
horrible.
But yeah, he's kind of been the heart and soul of this Yankees team. I look forward to his starts every single time he touches the mound because I know that he's going to be putting the Yankees in a position to win. And yeah, bro, I think that he can't deserve enough credit in the world for what he's done for this team. And bro, honestly, it's not even this season. Like, I think this season is just kind of the first one where we're looking at like sustained success from Garrett Cole. Like, I feel like we haven't really had too many clunkers where he's like giving up 8 runs in the first inning, like we've seen in years past. But it's just, bro, he's everything we could have asked for in an ace, and he's just continuing to dog night in, night out.
Yeah, no, he's been phenomenal. And now we're at the point where, I mean, there's other pitchers that could win it too, but Cole's like in his best position as a Yankee so far in his career to win a Cy Young, which
Yeah.
would be awesome. Of course, not like the end all be all, but I want to see him win one. I think we could get a chance this year. Also, shout out to Minga Herman. He was the other guy I was playing with. Take out the clunkers, ERA right around 3 on the season for the most part. I mean, if you've been watching, you know how good he's been. Just came off another good start against the Cubs, as we talked about. He's been awesome. Shout out to Minga Herman, been one of the Yankees' better starters this season. As for somebody I'm disappointed in, and I mean this nicely because I love the guy so much, but DJ LeMahieu, as I've been saying, I think he may just officially be washed. I mean, the stats are so bad. Not even just like at least in 2021, he was still hitting around 270. OBP was in the mid 300s, 349, and he was a league average hitter. That to me is what I at least thought the first 4 seasons or 3 or 4 seasons of this contract. That's what I thought the floor might be. But boy, this year, dude, 78 OPS plus. That's 22% worse than league average. OBP below 300, slugging at 357, 220 average, WAR right at 0. So he hasn't been worth anything. They got a lot of money left in that deal, bro. 15 mil a year for the next 3 seasons. Might be in some shit with DJ. And it's now at the point where I think I've said this on here already, but I flipped on thinking no matter what, Yankees going to go into October with him as their starting third baseman. I don't think you can do that as of right now. Whether that means you do go out and get somebody, hopefully they do, or Oswald Peraza, or if you don't, IKF at third base makes sense. I mean, I think that if you say you got a left fielder and that's all you did, then you probably go into the playoffs under my supervision with IKF at third base over DJ LeMahieu right now, or Josh Donaldson, which I do want to shout out Josh Donaldson for one thing, by the way. In 23 at-bats this year, he is slugging like 740 against lefties. Whatever that may be worth, I don't know. If you're going to play him going forward, I'd say only against lefties. But third base, we know, has been a black hole, and DJ's been a big part of that. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, he very well might be watched. And I think I agree when you say you can't go into the postseason with him as your starting third baseman. That's why we're looking at the deadline. I think ideally you get Candelario to play third base and you get Bellinger to play the outfield, and then you kind of solve those 2 holes there. But no, I definitely agree. But as far as frustrated goes, I'm gonna go with this. Might be an unpopular pick because I
You
know
said no Gleyber, dude.
No, I'm not.
I know.
Nestor Cortez. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Every time I see him in the dugout, he bothers me. Something about him, it just irks me. Every time I'm watching the Yankees, and then he comes on the Dunkin' Donuts commercial, it pisses me off. I'm tired of Nestor. If he comes back and he pitches well, I will be back in his. He will be back in my good graces. But also, let's not forget he was putrid before going on the IL this season. He might be washed.
Dude hurt.
He might be an absolute fluke.
No, okay, you are cracked out, bro.
And I do not want to see another friggin' Nestor Cortez Dunkin' Donuts commercial before we get an injury update. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, we did get an injury update. He threw a bullpen at Yankee Stadium, actually live BP against Greg Allen, who's also coming back. And Greg Allen said his stuff was nasty. And Nestor was asked afterward, did you have any pain, any discomfort? He goes, definitely no discomfort. I'm feeling good. So with that said, I'm able to just attribute those bad starts to being an aberration. I think he'll be just fine because he wasn't healthy at the time. I think you're crazy for saying this and making it your point for who you're disappointed in. Although I will acknowledge that Doesn't bother me with the Duncan commercials, but I do remember 2021 when he was out for like the whole fucking season, and all I saw were Luke Voigt BMW commercials on Yes. Oh boy, that did kind of drive me a little bit insane. So I understand where you're coming from,
No, bro,
but
it
I think
just
you're
feels
crazy,
like
dude.
Nestor's doing everything besides pitching. Like, bro, he's doing
hurt.
Mario Kart commercial. Like, bro, you're dressing up as Mario. How about
That was for
rehab?
Anthony Rizzo's Cancer Foundation.
Okay, which by the way, they keep advertising dinner for you and 24 friends. Who has 23 friends to invite to dinner?
Well, I bid on it, and I might take you.
Really?
Yeah,
You have 10K to bid on these? Bro, have you looked at, first of all, they
I
have
care
like
about
bidding.
cancer research, dude. Thank you. Do you not?
So do I, and I would love to donate. I don't have $30,000 to bid on a hitting lesson with
I think
Anthony
you do
Rizzo.
actually, Pat. You have quite a lot of money saved up from what I hear.
That's an insane thing to say.
You do got a nice
know.
whip though. How's the whip doing, anyways? You been cruising it around?
Okay, we're talking about Nestor Cortez Jr., bro, and how.
Yeah, you're talking about his Dunkin' commercials. Forgive me if I'm not that invested in this conversation.
By the way, have you looked at the bidding like for some of the
I
things?
haven't. No, I'm just playing.
So there's a pitching lesson with Garrett Cole. Last time I checked, I believe the bids were at $16,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there's also a hitting lesson with Cole, not Cole, not a hitting lesson with Cole. With Stanton, Judge, and Rizzo, and I think the bidding for that is at like 35,000.
35,000. I mean, it's probably just some dude. Some kids probably like got some nice ass parents that like that's gonna be their Christmas gift this year, and that's cool and all. But honestly,
What
I don't
kind
care
of
how rich I
am? Well, who's?
well, you know, it's like
Christmas
no.
gift?
It's like all right, sure, it might be next week, but when they're there, you know, the parents are saying like, "This is your Christmas present. Don't ask for nothing." You know, your parents said to you.
I don't think that's how billionaires work, bro.
It will when I'm one. I'm gonna have some discipline with my finances and how I dish it out to my kids. They ain't gonna get a goddamn thing from me, Pat. Not one thing. You'll get your clothes, you'll get your food, you might get some, I don't know, a toy once a year, but you're gonna work for what you get.
Once
I ain't
a
showing
year,
out 35 grand so you can go talk to Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole. I'll donate 35 grand for the good side of it, the cancer research, because I'm a good guy. But fuck them kids.
Wait. So you would donate the 35,000 and not even bid on the thing,
dude? Just one, because that shows how good of a guy I am. It's like, oh, I don't need that. Just take the money and figure out this.
Would you tweet about it?
I don't tweet anymore. I did actually tweet
about it.
I did tweet yesterday. I quote tweeted the Dillon Lawson news with a scene from Elvis where he was firing the colonel. He's like,
Yo, by the way, I think with this conversation being said, I'd like to announce that Dan and I are both donating to the Anthony Rizzo Foundation.
bet.
Yeah.
Not 35 grand though, but I will.
No.
I'll donate like $25 or like $50.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I think everybody should donate.
We should.
Yeah. Bro, throw the link in the description.
Maybe how about this? Let's do something right here. You donate to the Anthony Rizzo Foundation and you can prove it to us in some way. We'll do a separate ticket giveaway to somebody who like tags us or something like that. Does that make sense? Let's fucking do that.
That's really nice, actually.
Yeah, like you donate,
Yeah.
it could be anything. Donate to the Anthony Rizzo Foundation. Tag us on Twitter or whatever. Let us know about it. And those who do will have a chance to win tickets. Because we're doing a lot of ticket giveaways.
Can you just donate without bidding on anything?
I don't know. Yeah. It has to be 100%. If not, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. All right, cool.
I'll put a link. You down?
Yeah, no, I'm so down.
Yeah,
and if you guys want to donate and then screenshot your donation, tweet it out to Dan, he's gonna match 100% of what you guys donate.
Man, you got jokes on a Monday, bro. You got jokes on a Monday. You know, Pat, I gotta say, you're quite awake this morning. You're quite awake. Like you're feeling good. Like it might as well be 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I think the last morning episode we did, there was a lot of comments being like, "Oh, Pat sucked this episode,"
which
and I took it hard.
Was not. There
was
probably one comment, and then you just have like blurred vision, so you think it's 10 of them. Absolutely not. I didn't see that. A little behind the scenes, we're recording an hour later than normal today. Usually for mornings we go at 8. Today we're going at 9. I mean, I'm always game. I always show up, but I feel like it kind of does make a difference. That extra hour.
It does. No, it does.
It right? Does. Yeah.
Topic number 5, Dan. Let's talk about the All-Star Week. Tonight is the home run derby. Pete Alonso is going to win it. And we're so excited about it. I just like to sit here and give a huge shout out to Pete Alonso, one of the greatest players in Major League Baseball history. And I'm so excited to see him just go out there and listen to Nas and just represent Queens in the right way. Pete Alonso, we love you, and we're so excited to see you do well tonight. Any thoughts?
I can't tell if you're trying to jinx him or if you're just being a punk. But if you're being a punk, I agree with you because I'm not a huge Pete Alonso guy myself. I think it's, I think his corniness plays in the fact that not that he owns it, but it's kind of accepted. Pete Alonso is a corny ass motherfucker and he's goofy. Like Mets fans even acknowledge that now, which for a while I felt like they didn't. You know, his first couple of years, they would just try to put him on the pedestal of Judge of being like a king of New York. Like, no, he's just a dude who slugs. He's fat and that's fine. Good for him. I just looked up the home run derby participants for the first time. So
Sure.
I guess I'll go through it. Luis Robert Jr. or Robert, who's having a good year. Wouldn't mind getting him, by the way. Don't think we'll be the White Sox will trade him. But anyways, Luis Robert or Robert Jr. versus Adley Rushman. Pete Alonso versus Julio Rodriguez, who Rodriguez is not really having a good year at all. But Seattle, I guess I get it. Mookie Betts versus Vlad. Adolis Garcia versus Randy Arozarena. That's like the first round, the way it lines up. I'm looking at these names here, dude. If it's on, I'll watch. But this is where I get a little bit separated from baseball. I'm much more of a Yankee fan than I am an MLB fan. I am. Like, I love baseball. I know a lot about it. I have to. Produce baseball today. I don't have a choice. But, like, who am I turning this on to see? I don't know.
I will be watching the home run derby. I love watching the home run derby.
You're not a
I'm
Yankee. I
going
don't
to
care
be
about you.
I think the sleeper pick for tonight that I think a lot of people are overlooking, Adolis Garcia.
I do like him.
That guy has an insane pop. I think that he can very easily win it this year with ease. Mookie Betts, I don't see having any chance. J Rod is a sleeper pick, bro. He did very well last year. Pretty sure he eliminated Pete Alonso last year.
Yeah.
And now being in Seattle this year, I know he's not having a great season, a little bit of a sleeper pick there, but I think as long as anybody besides Pete Alonso wins, like I'm going to view it as like a successful event. And going into tomorrow, which is the All-Star game, love the All-Star game, bro. I love the All-Star red carpet when everyone shows up in like their cool outfits and MLB Network interviews them.
That is cool.
It's fun. This year, the Yankees only have one representative, Garrett Cole. And I've said this on numerous occasions. I'm very happy that Garrett Cole is the only representative.
Now you're saying that because Judge isn't showing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And obviously if Judge were healthy and got voted in, like I'd love to see Judge and Cole there, but since Judge is injured, it makes me very happy that Garrett Cole is the only person there because like we said before, he's kind of been carrying this team and this rotation on his back this season. And I do think it'll be a little bit weird when they announce the rosters and like, oh, from the New York Yankees, usually there's like a list of 5 guys. It's gonna be like, oh, Garrett Cole. And then, oh, from the Oakland Athletics. It's gonna be a little bit weird, but I think that he deserves it.
Yeah, I guess I'll watch for Cole. I mean, usually it's the All-Star game more so that I have a problem with. I'll probably bet on the home run derby, I think. So I'll watch that.
On who?
Some money. I don't know. Let's decide now. Like, who should I?
Okay.
Odds.
Adolis Garcia is probably a lock. Like, I haven't looked at the odds, but I would say that he might be you think he's the favorite? I would assume Pete's the favorite.
Yeah, I'd say it's Pete. Let me just. All right, I'm gonna rule out.
Okay, I'm looking at the odds.
Okay,
bro.
Let me guess. Okay, I'm gonna say the worst odds. Adley.
Yeah, plus 1,800.
Okay. Robert Jr.
No.
Oh, just give me the list.
Okay, so I'll go last to best. So you got Adley plus 1,800, Mookie Betts plus 1,100, Arozarena plus 1,000, Adolis Garcia's plus 700, Luis Robert plus 500, Julio Rodriguez plus 500, Vlad Jr. plus 370, Pete Alonso plus 310.
Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I would probably bet on Adolis then, dude. I like him too. He's actually it's very rare where I compliment other players that aren't Yankees, but I generally like him.
You put $20 on Adolis and he wins, you win 160.
Done. I'll do that then. Bet. Get it?
Better. Shout out better.
Yo, is that our show?
That might be the show.
So we got home run derby tonight, Monday.
Yes.
All-Star break Tuesday, or All-Star game Tuesday. And then, so Yankees are in Colorado come Friday. That morning, same schedule as always. We'll just have our show Friday morning.
Yeah.
I guess we'll record that Thursday night or whatever the hell. It's going to be a weird week.
I guess. I mean, but also not really, because I feel like the All-Star break goes so much quicker than we think it does. Like, bro, tonight's the home run derby. Tomorrow's the All-Star game. Wednesday's just kind of like a day off. Thursday's a day off, and then Friday you're right back to normal. So
Yeah,
it's
not
nothing
true. I
too
also
weird.
do. I think for like, dude, the players, if you're in the All-Star game, like, damn, like it's not even much of a break, really.
Yo, by the way, did you watch the draft?
I still gotta like post about that and whatnot. I was on the path, so I was underground, hardly got any connection. But yeah, shout out to what is his name?
Paul Skeens. Oh, the guy that the Yankees
It's like
drafted, Lombard or something.
Brandon Lombard, yeah, who's actually
Yeah.
the grandson of the Tigers bench coach, and he is a high school commit to Vanderbilt, plays shortstop. Shortstops can play anywhere. He's good. You just at that point you draft the best player available, regardless of position. So shout out to you. I do the MLB draft's tough to really, for obvious reasons, to get that invested in, but it's cool.
Yeah. And I think before we wrap up the episode, like let's make this giveaway clear.
Yes.
So we're okay. I know you don't want to do it on Twitter, but
I
you
don't
want to
mind.
do it
No,
on Threads?
we can do it on Twitter. I don't really mind because I'll still like I'm not opposed. Like I'm not like anti-Twitter. I just don't naturally go on the app anymore. But like I'll still retweet the thing. I think Twitter still because we have our Yankees Avenue Show account on there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do it on Twitter. We're gonna drop a tweet as this episode comes out in order to enter our ticket giveaway. We'll pick a game. The winner could pick whatever game they want to go to. How about that?
Okay.
And then in order to enter, you're going to like the tweet, you're going to retweet the tweet, and you're going to make any sort of contribution to the Anthony Rizzo Foundation. It could be $1, it could be $1,000, whatever you want to do. And you're going to screenshot it and reply it to the tweet. And that's how you're going to enter.
Yeah, so I have right up here the went to the website, got the donate. I'm just gonna put the link right down in the description. It'll be easy as hell to find. And yeah, pretty simple stuff. Just word. Cool. The donate site is so simple. You just right away have it's perfect. So do that. And yeah, tag us and shit, and then we'll announce it.
Yep.
Did you say when we're announcing it? When are we announcing it?
We could announce
Friday?
it next episode, Friday.
Yeah, more good shit, man. That was a fun episode this morning, bro. Fun episode. Had a good time. Oh yeah, here we go. Hot shot. Socials, where can they find you?
TikTok, Twitter at Unhinged Patrick, and then Instagram and Threads at True Hennessy.
Dude, there's a reason I deleted Slack. There's a reason my phone's on Do Not Disturb at all times. I don't fucking like just texts. You understand?
Okay. Every time I'm exposing you. Every single time I text Dan, no. Every single time I text you, it has that little thing on the bottom. Dan has notification silenced.
Yeah. So
but also you could have notification silence. Why do I have to know that?
Oh, well, blame Apple for that. I don't know.
No, you have that on. That's not automatically like that.
Well, no, I have Do Not Disturb on. I don't choose that it tells you that. I don't know if that's up to me. Oh, well, sorry. No, actually, I don't mind having that feature, to be honest. I want people to know that I'm not going to right away. And also, especially on the weekends, I set blocks. Like, I make sure not to send, I'll respond to text, all in, an hour block. So I don't, it's an ADHD thing, dude. I got to watch myself, all right? Socials, Dan on Rourke on Instagram, Yankees Avenue on Instagram, Yankees Avenue on Threads. Almost at 10K, I'm pumped. Like my Gleyber pen?
No. It's okay.
You gave it to me, so that's kind of fucked up. Imagine I gave you a gift and it was I hate this gift, but you can have it.
That's from Foco. Shout out Foco.
No, but I think you got it for me. Like you personally are you're like Foco, please send him this. Which by the way, can you give me more shorts? You said
I'll let them know.
Shorts. The gray ones with the logo.
Yeah.
Promise?
What happened to the originals?
Ketchup stain, dude. I actually got a ketchup stain. You could still vaguely see it on my shoe from the 4th of July barbecue.
Ketchup?
No, it was ketchup. Yeah. What do you think it was? Blood? Would be brown by now, bruh. Learn your crime. Let's get out of here. Wait. How long?
47 minutes and 25 seconds.
Bastard. I was gonna say 47 minutes too. So let's ride with it. All right, yo. See you guys next time. Let's go, Yankees. Her body's going like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting, I remember. But we say we all fine, we all fine.